CLAT division, and this is Anish. I'm going analyst this year, and today I'm here to teach you all how to read logical reasoning passage in that critical reasoning. So earlier, only critical reasoning used to come, but in 2025 even AR, that is analytical reasoning, came. So we are not going to focus on that. I'll make another video on analytical reasoning later. Today we are going to only go for critical reasoning. So we'll read one passage. Before we go into passage, so before we are going to go into the passage, I have made a note here of which kind of questions come in the critical reasoning questions. Wait. So here it is, CR CLAT. See, the most common is assumption, first, inference, conclusion, main idea or crux, weaken and strengthen, paradox, flaw, agree, disagree. These are the kind of questions that you will find repeated in all the passages of critical reasoning and logical section. So let's start with assumption, right? I'll give just assumption का मैं बता देता हूँ, then I'll move to the passage. What is assumption? So let's say I say a statement that is Abhay won a race, right? So Abhay won a race Abhay won a 400-meter relay. Okay, let's say that Abhay won a 400-meter relay race. What is the assumption behind it? There can be a few assumptions behind it. First, that he can run. That is very basic, right? He can run, that's how he won the running relay. Correct? Second assumption can be he has good stamina. Right? Third assumption can be he has legs. This is called assumption. Anything which is not implied, anything which is necessary for the statement to be true. Any underlying assumption which is necessary for the statement to be true, that is called assumption. We'll move to the passage now. Alright? So this is it. Wait. We are going to go over this passage. So unlike English, in logical we don't need to underline or highlight specific lines or things. We need to keep a general idea of how the passage is going, of what the passage is talking about, of what the argument is, what are the things being said. We need to keep a note of it in mind. We can't highlight it because that is not going to be really helpful. In this, generally idea is asked, right? Like argue, what is the main argument, of which sentence or weakness. So you need to have a general idea of that. In English, direct you can answer directly based on what is given in the passage. Like it was direct, we take some line from passage and answer it. Logical is a little bit different. You need to keep an idea. So I'm not going to highlight a lot of things. Maybe I will. Let's see if there's anything important. Alright, so this is fine. Okay, let's start. The Indus Water Treaty, brokered by the World Bank in 1960, has been a cornerstone in preventing water conflicts between India and Pakistan. Despite wars over the treaty has remained character. However, the treaty is now under strain due to climate change, population growth, and spreading water in India and Pakistan are spending more frequent droughts and floods, and the problem surged since the treaty's inception. India is nearly tripling and increasing almost fivefold. Ocean is also grappling with dwindling groundwater supplies. The treaty helps the 3 eastern rivers to India and 3 western rivers to Pakistan. Both countries have turned to dam construction for irrigation and electric power, leading to disputes. Pakistan has raised concerns that India's dam designs could allow it to withhold power or release uncontrollable floods. India argues that its plans are within the treaty's scope. The case has reached The Hague, where a neutral expert is currently hearing the case. Experts argue that the treaty needs to evolve. It was initially designed to prevent conflict by strictly dividing waters, but the changing climate and increased water stress call for a more cooperative approach. Ashok Swain, a professor at Uppsala University, suggests that the treaty could transition from being a conflict avoidance tool to a framework for managing shared water resources. However, the tense relations between India and Pakistan make cooperation difficult. Both countries have acknowledged the impact of climate change but have yet to find common ground in water sharing. The immediate dispute focuses on the technical designs of India's Kishan Ganga and Rattle hydroelectric project. India has given significant intention to modify the treaty, citing Pakistan's handling of disputes as one reason. Pakistan has been pushing for climate justice. And as such, experts argue that without doubt the treaty cannot afford to meet current challenges. These stakes are high, both have similar trends of catastrophic flooding and droughts, and that can only be mitigated through cooperation. The treaty does not allow unilateral exit, making dialogue and trust building essential for its long-term resilience. So what is the main idea? The thing being talked about here is Indus Water Treaty, which started as a conflict avoidance tool and now needs to be made a framework for how to share water between both the countries. right? So earlier it kind of worked, but now there are problems. The population has risen, there are climate change issues and other stuff, and now also both the countries are at constant tussle, so it's not really easy to evolve the framework. So there needs to be expert in between and a lot of dialogue going on, correct? So that's the main idea and what is going on. So, which of the following is the, see, I told you, right, agree, disagree. Which of the following is the author most likely to agree with? The primary challenge to this one is not climate change, but rather the diplomatic tensions between India and Pakistan. This option might seem enticing, but it's not, see, there is nowhere given that the primary challenge is not climate change. It's just given that diplomatic tensions is also a problem, and climate change is also a problem. There's also population is problem. So this can't be true. Like it's kind of true, but not most likely to agree with. Let's see if there is a better option, right? If there is no better option, we can choose it, but let's see. Although no, this is not the primary challenge, this was not, so this is, I think, entirely false. The Indus Waters Treaty's focus on conflict avoidance is its greatest strength, and this should be the primary object. No, this is also not given anyway. The Indus Waters Treaty need to evolve into a framework that goes beyond conflict. This was given, right? The Indus Waters Treaty needs to evolve into a framework that goes beyond conflict related to cooperative water resource management. Even in this question, you know what, agree and disagree mein, you can follow kind of reading comprehension logic, that you need to find a sentence which exactly matches the option, kind of, not entirely, but this was given in the passage directly, so this the author directly agrees with, most likely agrees with, right? Because this is clearly stated here, correct? All right, so we don't even need to read the option, but if you want to, you can. Yeah, it's sufficient. This was entirely for sufficient. We don't need to read. Which of the following is most similar to the author's statement regarding the role of the Indus Water Treaty in the context of climate change and population growth? Is most similar to the author's that regarding the role of the in the context of climate change and population growth. Most similar. Okay. The Indus Water Treaty remains a robust mechanism requiring only minor. This is not true. The whole point is that Indus Water Treaty needs to evolve. Correct. B option. The Indus Water Treaty, although initially successful in preventing water conflicts, is increasingly inadequate due to evolving. This is given. This is what the passage is talking about. So I think this should be the answer. But okay, let's see the other options as well. The Indus Water Treaty is primarily flawed because it was never capable of preventing water conflicts. It worked earlier, so we can't call it primarily flawed, right? It prevented water conflicts, that was given earlier. The Indus Water Treaty is a diplomatic that has been rendered obsolete as were never intended to. No, it's not just a diplomatic tool. It's a fully real tool to share water, to stop conflicts and share water. Right? So this it has not been rendered completely obsolete. I think B is the most suitable answer. Yeah. If the information in the passage above is correct, which of the following must necessarily be true? Alright, so we have to find a statement, an option which follows the passage, what is given in the passage. The Indus Water Treaty has effectively mitigated. No, it has not. New problems. The treaty's inability to adapt to climate change has already led to water wars. This is not given anywhere. Both Indian parties have acknowledged the impact of climate change but have not agreed on water sharing in the context. Yes, this is given, that they have acknowledged the impact of climate change but have not agreed on water sharing in this context. There is still issues going on. That is what that is what was given in the passage. Alright, now 88. Which of the following, if true, would most weaken the author's argument that the Indus Water Treaty is under strain due to climate change, population growth, and increased water demands? A recent study shows what most weaken, correct, that the Indus Water Treaty is under strain. Alright. A recent study shows that technology advances have significantly reduced water uses. Is under and increased water demands. We have to weaken this argument that there is increased water demand. So if the study shows that water uses has reduced significantly in both India and Pakistan, then that would mean that is easily weakening this claim that there is an increased water demand, right? So this is weakening the line for sure. Both India and Pakistan recently agreed to this is not weakening it. Like this is okay. An additional information, they have agreed to a supplementary treaty that addresses climate change, right? This is an additional, after the strain there was a treaty. This is not weakening. The World Bank has increased its funding for water management projects. Again, additional info. New research indicates that the Indus Basin aquifer is not as overstressed as previously thought. Indus Basin aquifer, completely relevant, very relevant. I think not really weakens it directly or tackles it directly. So A. Okay, wait. Yes. I hope this was visible. Yeah, alright. Next, 89. Which of the following, if true, would resolve the paradox that despite the Indus Water Treaty's success in preventing it has become a point of contention between Indian. So, what is a paradox? Let's first discuss on that. A paradox is something that I say a statement, then I say another statement, but the second statement does not follow the first statement completely. Right? The second statement is kind of disconnected from the first statement. So that is called a paradox. And what resolves a paradox? A line, any statement, any line in middle that will connect the first statement and the second statement. So what is the statement given here? Despite the Indus Water Treaty success in preventing water conflicts, it has become a point of contention. So the statements are to a standard that it has prevented water conflicts in Indus Water Treaty, but it has also become a point of contention between India and Pakistan. So which point will solve that paradox? The treaty includes a clause that allows for periodic negotiation to adapt to new. Yeah, that could be an answer. Like, even though there is point of contention, it has also solved. Like, even though there is, it has been successful in preventing water, it has become a point of contention also. So if there is periodic negotiation, that could mean कि point of contention भी है, depending on new realities, new challenges, but it still solves the water conflict. So this could be an answer. Both countries have developed alternatives sustainable. That is not solving the paradox. Both countries have developed alternatives sustainable that makes it less critical to the water supply. Preventing water conflicts. So how does it become a point of contention if they have moved to other resources? And how does it? No, this is entirely irrelevant. The World Bank, as the broker of this, stepped into it for strict penalties, effectively. The World Bank, as a broker of the treaty, has stepped into and enforced strict penalties. I don't think this was given in the passage. Also, this was also we have to see what is given in the pass. Okay, wait. No. The World Bank, as the broker of the treaty, has stepped in to enforce strict penalties for any effectively deterring both countries from disputing its terms. But they are a point of contention, right? Still, and it still solves water conflicts. That this is irrelevant. This does not solve the paradox. This is an additional information. Also not true. I think this was not given in the passage. The World Bank. Yeah, this was not given also. No, I don't think this should be the answer at all. Nope. Climate change has been officially debunked. This is additional information. Like, okay, it has stepped in to enforce strict penalties, effectively deterring. No, the first is an easy answer because that does, provide for adaptation. That is what we're talking. Like, even though it solves conflicts, there's still contention because of new challenges, and there's still, that a law. The treaty includes clause for periodic renegotiation. Climate change has been officially debunked, leading both countries to focus on other issues. Definitely not true. Entirely opposite of what is given in the passage. So this should be the answer. Alright. So that is it for today, guys, and I hope you all understood how to solve logical. Analytical I'll deal with, how to solve critical reasoning. Analytical I'll deal with in some video, next video, and that is it for today. Thank you. Have a great day.